Good afternoon, everyone. We are on the home stretch of day 2 of theCUBE's live coverage of the Snowflake Summit 2025 here at the Moscone Center in San Francisco. I'm your host, Rebecca Knight, alongside my co-host and analyst, co-founder of theCUBE, Dave Vellante. We've got two fantastic guests for this next segment. I'd like to welcome Thomas Bodenski. He is the COO and Chief Data and Analytics Officer at TS Imagine. Welcome, Thomas.
Thanks for having me.
And Vivek Raghunathan, SVP Engineering at Snowflake. Welcome back to the show, Vivek. Always a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I want to start with you, Thomas. I want to hear about your journey with Snowflake, but before we do, tell our viewers a little bit about TS Imagine and the kinds of ways in which you grapple with data.
Absolutely. So TS Imagine, we are a builder and operator of SaaS-based technology for trading and risk management. And we service over 500 financial institutions in the world. Some of the largest that you know, hedge funds, asset managers, banks. And not only do we provide the technology, it also comes with data out of the box. And we utilize Snowflake to manage, for example, 20 million financial instruments in Snowflake, provide this data fit for purpose, ready to be traded or risk assessed. It's through our platforms.
So you manage highly sensitive, highly private data in a highly regulated industry. So tell us a little bit before Snowflake, what were your pain points? What were your challenges? What were you dealing with?
Absolutely. So there's a lot of history with TS Imagine. TS Imagine is the result of a merger that we just celebrated 4-year anniversary in May, but there is decades of history of both firms that were brought together. We had to provide the data all the time, but there was also a lot of manual activity. Like in the financial industry, you constantly convert unstructured data into structured data. That's like the #1 activity, right? And then we make decisions. So the challenge is how do you take this data preparation out? How do you automate this so you can focus on decision making? And that's what we leverage, for example, our AI for.
Yeah, so we know well the data pipeline, and it's been built up over many years, and it's kind of reaching the end of its useful life, in my opinion, in terms of the way the process works. It's ripe for disruption, I'll say. So you guys have Cortex AISQL, and your tagline on this is you're going to turn every data analyst into an AI engineer. So I wonder if you can, Vivek, help us understand how that sort of vision turns into reality. And maybe some examples, and Thomas, maybe how you guys are using it.
Yeah. I'll start off by I used to be in the ads industry before I came to Snowflake. Yeah. I ran the YouTube ads business for 4 years, and very common thing our customers did was, you want to know how your ads are performing. You have video ads, you have image ads, and you want to know what are the things that make for a great creative, what are the things that actually drive performance. So I'll give you the rough life in the history of an ad buyer. So you run your campaigns, then you wonder how these are performing. So you walk down the hall and you ask people, hey, what is the ad ID for that ad that we ran that had the word sale in it, right? What about the one that had like a Christmas tree in it? You grab those ad IDs, you write them down on a piece of paper, you walk over, then go to your buying department and you say, hey, can you pull up the impressions and clicks and conversions for these ads? And you get some stats, and you go back to your creative guys and you say, hey, this ad performs slightly better, this ad performs slightly worse, there's this ad ID, and they're like, if they could still find that ad in the system, they'll find that ad in the system. If they couldn't, so it's very much seat of the pants, right? The vision we are powering towards very much is AI gets integrated in the database in a way that was never before. You can reference multimodal content directly from SQL. You can analyze that multimodal content alongside all your other analytical content using LLMs almost as a prompt to do the kind of analysis that I just outlined. So if you wanted to ask, how are ads that contain the word sale in it performing rather than ads that don't contain the word sale in it? And it's in an image, and maybe the word sale is kind of like all hidden, right? You can get that answer in one query. So you can imagine how this might transform industries where people are dealing with lots of multimodal and analytic data at the same time. The new workflow might look something like this. You upload a bunch of creatives, you quickly query the system to discover which creatives are doing better, which creatives are doing worse. Then maybe you tell the AI, go generate me more creatives like this creative. And you put those back in the system, and now you have almost like an agentic ad buyer, if you will, right?
Right.
That is the vision we are powering very much towards. It is a vision that is true to what Snowflake is. It's easy, it's powerful and efficient, it's trusted, and we exist to democratize use cases and bring use cases that earlier might have taken 30 days for someone to pull off to within minutes, and very powerfully. This is what Benoit and Thierry built the company on.
Yep.
This is kind of what we want to do in the world of AI.
So Thomas, Vivek just laid out a vision of what I'd call, not my word, but citizen data engineer, or citizen AI engineer. When you think about that in your organization, that sounds wonderful. You let 1,000 flowers bloom, but as Rebecca was saying, it's a highly regulated industry. What is the flip side of that? How do you think about governing that, controlling it, training people on how to not abuse the system?
It's a very good question. We branded this yesterday. We said secure AI innovation. Snowflake is very good in picking names for the features, so I thought like a
Rolls
follow
off
that,
the tongue.
right? So secure AI innovation. The fact is we chose Snowflake almost 4 years ago to be our data access layer because of its data sharing capabilities, right? AI didn't exist back then. ChatGPT wasn't born back then, and that was our vision to have that. So you already collaborate anyway on a secure environment, right? We collaborate with our clients internally as well, all on Snowflake, on secure in a lockdown environment. Now, fast forward, you have the AI running natively on the same data, right? So we bring the AI to the data rather than the data to the AI. And we have access to some of the best large language models in the world that helps us produce amazing tangible results, like the Mistral, the Llama, the Claude, the Arctic from Snowflake.
And go ahead, please.
No, I was just going to say, so you, as you said, you chose Snowflake for its data sharing capabilities, its ease of collaboration.
Yep.
So walk us through how you use it in your teams.
Okay, so we operationalized the AI. We have AI up and running, by the way, since October 2023. So we are a leader in AI.
Okay.
And thanks to Snowflake, we run everything natively in Snowflake now. And some of the use cases that we have up and running help us run the manual work at 3% of the traditional cost, because now it's fully automated. The AI is doing this. We branded our AI with a name. We call her Taya. She's part of the team, works 24/7, and produces amazing results. And one of the really exciting use cases that we have up and running is actually for our customer service inquiry. We have 60,000 customer service inquiries a year, 5,000 approximately in a month. And because we are in trading and risk management, those inquiries are not easy to remediate or to work on.
So give us an example of what these inquiries are like.
So one example is, I need this bond to be set up. Please set it up so I can start trading, or I can start measuring the risk. We bring in the data from hundreds of different data sources, and they might not have this particular financial instrument. As mentioned before, 20 million, it's a lot. Huge universe, the full trading universe. There's stuff that it's going to miss. So they're going to call us and say, help me out here, and then we bring it up and running and enable our users to do what they do best, trade or manage risk.
So Taya is a customer support agent, essentially, is that right? Is that how you would?
Yeah, she has many roles. She acts as a data analyst, as a customer support analyst, even as a salesperson populating RFPs.
I love how we're talking about her.
I know.
So you built her with Cortex?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes, yes.
How hard or easy was that to design and deploy? And how does she learn over time?
It was built by people that had limited or no background in AI or machine learning.
But they had background in business.
They had the background in business. They actually operate that business. So when you empower the people that benefit from the result to produce that result by themselves, you're going to get the best possible result. And that's what those guys did. And we leveraged Snowflake for this. We leveraged Cortex. And look at the tangible results that we produced. So this effort was at minimum 3 full-time equivalents that we have reduced, right? And that 3 full-time equivalents, those guys can now do much more important stuff like decision making. They don't have to go through the manual activity, monitoring a queue, figuring it out, like this ticket is best possible to assign to this product specialist. This ticket can be best be remediated by this person. Because there's a lot of like information that goes into this decision process. It's not just like who is available, it's like who is best qualified. And we have people around the world, right? We are global. Hong Kong, London, New York, Montreal are our key offices. The agent has to figure out now who am I going to give this ticket to based on a rule set that is like 10, 20 pages long. And then you need to know who is out of office, who is at the dentist, who is babysitting, right? And stuff like this, right? But also, you need to understand what's the sentiment on this ticket, what's the urgency, what's the complexity, etc. And based on those criteria, right? All of this is happening usually in 10 minutes. It easily took 10 minutes for a human to just take the case, classify it, enhance it, enrich it, and prepare it to be done. We do this now in 1 minute. So not only do I do it with 3 less full-time equivalents, I do it faster. And then on top of that, I mentioned before, like we are globally operating. Because of this, we are naturally working in a 24/6 environment. But our Achilles heel is the Saturday, right? Nobody is in the office. So guess what? Taya is working 24/7. So she responds.
So is, amazing story. But where is the human in Taya's loop?
The human is always at the end result, making the final decision, right? So Taya takes out all the work, prepares everything, gets it ready, and then gives it to you, and now you're going to complete it.
Oh, is there a feedback loop to Taya from the human?
Absolutely.
Like for exception, and can she learn from the reasoning traces of the human?
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's say like for some reason like we determined this as highly complex and maybe it was only medium complex. So because we have it fully seamlessly integrated, we use Jira as our platform to manage tickets. So the ticket comes in, it calls Taya, Taya does its work, the information goes back. So our business people actually don't see necessarily Taya. They see the existing utilities that they used for decades,
so
right?
Vivek, this is a pretty advanced example. You said 2023, you started using Snowflake AI,
yes.
Right? Which was kind of early on in your AI journey, I would say. Would it not? I mean, we see the data, you're now leader. Back then you weren't even, you didn't even come up in the surveys. Now you come up right up the top. Where do you see most customers in that? What's the maturity curve look like?
I think we see customers at all stages of that maturity spectrum. I mean, clearly you're one of our more advanced customers. I think we see, so I think I said this last year when I was on your show, I said, 2024 was the year of the POC, 2025 is the year of people putting these things into production, right? At the end, customers care about outcomes. And you get customers that are different ends of the spectrum in terms of the ROI they see. And roughly speaking, what we see is the quicker they can get to ROI, the quicker they're going to put it into production, right? Give or take. If the ROI is slightly lower, that road to production is going to be a lot longer.
Yeah.
We make it easy. We make it efficient. The fact that you're on Snowflake and the AI is running on your data means it's governed from the get-go, which means that when these customers take it to their AI governance boards, which I'm sure you have one of, things are generally fairly smooth. But I think where the entire industry right now is, and you heard Sam say this a bit in the Monday keynote, these systems are getting better every 6 months, right? Every 6 months, the length of tasks that an AI can do by itself is roughly doubling. That means the time to value is reducing, is shrinking. The time to be able to do these tasks with high ROI is increasing. So we see customers at all stages of the spectrum. I think as we get more powerful capabilities, things like Cortex Analyst, things like Snowflake Intelligence, things like AISQL, where we take lots of the hard work and kind of abstract that away even more, we see customers start to adopt a lot quicker. The thing that makes us fairly unique in my mind is, and customers like you know this as well as anyone else, you need the data to be AI ready if you really want to drive value out of AI, right? So when you hear of things like semantic layers or semantic views, and how those are tightly integrated into the way people set up something like Snowflake Intelligence or Cortex Analyst, I see that as a way of getting all of the business knowledge and the business processes that are in the business's head into our systems so they can start to get that time to value like down to a day or 2 days.
And Snowflake was your semantic layer, or were there other parts of the business that you had to manually harmonize or use other tools?
We are Snowflake first. And because of this, we are cloud first, and now we are AI first.
So beyond Taya, are there any other areas that you're experimenting with agentic AI in operations or trading?
Yes, actually many. But one thing to highlight in our journey, we always have this vision of self-service analytics. Help our people, but also help our users to help themselves. And you guys do an amazing job in enabling this for us. Like, we get to do much more with data when you help yourself. So we finished the data strategy. We have a robust data foundation that enables us to adopt AI at scale. We did this all internally, right? We feel very comfortable. I think we master AI at a very high level. And now we're bringing this to our users. So can you imagine if the trader interrogates the data with natural language? Can you imagine when the compliance officer and the trader collaborate more efficiently on decisions that they made or questions that they have, right? The sky is the limit. If your data is good, and you have Snowflake, and you have the right people, and I got all three of this.
Including Taya.
Including Taya, yes.
Well, that's interesting. Brings me a question. We were interviewing Mark Benioff recently. He actually wrote an article in the Wall Street Journal saying, I'm the last generation of managers that will be managed only humans. And so what does that mean? First of all, do you agree with that? It's probably true. Probably an accurate prediction. How does that affect the way in which you manage people?
So some people would say we built Taya. I actually say we recruited her.
Yeah.
And then we trained her, right? Same like you do it normally. And we just talked before with another journalist, and he asked me about it, and I was joking. Yeah, Taya is probably in the run for Employee of the Year.
Easier performance reviews, I'll bet.
Yeah. And very friendly, always nice, in a good mood. Right?
Positive. So Vivek, if 2024 was the year of experimentation, 2025 year of production, what's 26? Is that the year of break even and ROI and self-funding?
I love your question. I think 2025 starts to be that year in my mind. I think our ability to drive ROI, our ability to drive value is exponentially increasing in ways that even I, who am like super optimistic, wouldn't have anticipated 12 months back. I think what you see in 2026 is the AI tools that Snowflake and others provide start to do more and more complex tasks, right? Talking to your trader, talking to your data, that's incredible. But every customer I talk to at Snowflake tells me they want better cost management tools, they want better cost optimization tools. I want to give them the AI that says, you can ask Snowflake why costs were up yesterday or last week, and it'll go do deep research. It'll do the kind of research that an analyst would do. It would kind of go and look at every database in the company. It would see what people were using it for, and would come back and give you like a report almost of what happened, right? I do this all the time. Like, I wake up in the morning, maybe some dashboard I stare at is slightly off. I shoot off an email to my team. I say, hey, this number I used to look at, it used to always trend up, it's going down. And I know under the hood, once I send that email, there's an army of 15 people working for a week to produce that answer, right? I see AI as dramatically increasing their ability to get to insights on very short form. You start to see this on the public web a bit. OpenAI did their deep search or deep research agent for the web. The version of that for structured data, the version of that for your enterprise data inside your data estate, we're nowhere close to actually landing that, but that is the vision I get excited by. That is the vision Jeff Holland showed as his culminating experience for Snowflake Intelligence yesterday in his keynote. I see that as something we're fairly close to, and I see that as transforming the lives of decision makers, business users like me.
And that's a clear competitive advantage. We agree with that vision. We wrote a piece, I don't know, 6 months ago, why Jamie Dimon is Sam Altman's biggest competitor. It's because of that data that you have in your organization and others, all your competitors. You have your own data set and you use that for competitive advantage.
Absolutely.
And you'll be, if I understand it correctly, interacting with that data set through natural language.
And I actually read your piece, I think, was it yesterday or day before, where you were talking about how things like a metrics layer and things like semantic layers can be this thing that really propel us to insights. Right.
And you guys have been definitely hinting at that metrics layer. It's going to be really interesting to see how that all evolves within the ecosystem, yourselves, the BI players, the competition, and the customer's ability to absorb it. It's a lot of upside.
Indeed, and lots to talk about at next year's Snowflake Summit. So Thomas, Vivek, thank you both so much for coming on the show. A really, really interesting conversation.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot for having me.
I'm Rebecca Knight for Dave Vellante. Stay tuned for more of theCUBE's live coverage of the Snowflake Summit. You're watching theCUBE, the leader in enterprise tech news and analysis.